Welcome to If You Would Have Asked Me, a podcast where we don't shy away from the truth and where we embrace raw, honest, and unapologetic conversations. Life isn't about fitting into a mold or meeting society's expectations. It's about showing up every day as your most authentic self, even when it feels uncomfortable. I'm Addie, and I want to start this journey with you by getting real about something: mindset. How we choose to move through life, how we process the world, and how we choose to react to every situation in our life. But before we get into it, I want to make one thing very clear. I am not a professional. I didn't study this in a classroom, didn't read a self-help book and decide to preach it to you. I didn't have some almighty give me any knowledge in a dream. No, this comes from real experiences, real struggles, real lessons, and real moments of clarity. I started this podcast because I've been there. I've found myself in situations where I believe in people more than they believe in themselves, and I found myself in situations where I believe in people more than I believe in my own self. And experiences like these kind of made me reflect. Why did I see potential in them that they couldn't see? Why could I see potential in them that I'm not choosing to embrace myself? And more importantly, why is my perspective so different from theirs when I try to communicate this? So I sat down and I wrote my thoughts, trying to figure out what fuels me and what keeps me pushing, even when the world tries to knock me down. And it all comes down to this: I believe in myself, and I believe in people. I choose to show up every single day as my most authentic self, no matter how uncomfortable that's going to make somebody else. Because at the end of the day, me showing my true colors will show me your true colors. And if our true colors don't blend well, then maybe I need to be in a different group of colors, and maybe you do too. Because maybe we just weren't meant to fit in each other's lives. And that's just how it works. There's 1 billion people in this world. You're not going to fit into all 1 billion people's lives. It's a concept that social media gave you. And today, I want to talk about it. Let's talk about what it means to break society's boxes and reclaim your power and choose yourself every single day. Think about it. From the time we were born, we are placed in categories. We are taught to fit into labels, to mold ourselves to what is expected of us, to be this, don't be that, speak this way, don't dress like that. And we listen every time. A lot of the time, it's just because we have no other knowledge, and this is just how we feel we're going to grow, and this is how we feel we're going to learn. And you're not going to learn, but you're not going to learn the same lesson that the person who is trying to guide you is, because you guys haven't went through the same experiences. So you guys have two completely different truths, no matter how many similar situations you two have been into. And we're told that following the rules makes life easier. Fitting into these categories makes life easier for us. And it does. I'll be honest, I'm not going to sit here and lie about it. Breaking yourself down to be easier for everybody else to chew makes life 10 times easier, because you're making yourself likable. You're making yourself a person that people are going to love, because that's what you want. And if that fulfills you, Don't think I'm telling you to not do that. Do whatever fulfills you and makes you feel as your most authentic self. But what happens when you wake up one day and you realize that none of those labels fit? What happens when you realize you've been living by somebody else's expectations instead of your own truth? And here's the thing. They make you feel like you need to fit into these categories because it makes them feel comfortable. Society thrives on control. It's the easiest way and the easiest way to control people is to convince them that they have to belong. You don't need to belong everywhere. As long as you belong within yourself and you love yourself enough to be able to set yourself free from other people's expectations, you've got gum. And let me ask you this. Who decided that? Who decided that you have to live your life according to somebody else's rules? And the truth is, you don't, and you never did. You never had to fit somebody else's expectations. You never had to be that person. And yes, it will make life a little harder to be the black sheep. It will make life a little harder to go against what everybody else wants you to go against, or what everybody else wants you to do. But if you're truly dedicated enough and you truly love yourself enough and you truly respect yourself and the people around you enough, putting yourself in a position like this won't feel hard for you and it won't feel like you're doing something that's against yourself. And if you do feel like that, then obviously this isn't the way that you should be living and that you should be doing something else to fulfill your life. This podcast is about fulfilling who you are in your own self. Doesn't matter what your politics are, doesn't matter what your religious beliefs are, doesn't matter what aesthetic you want to be. Like, the only thing that matters is the amount that you love yourself and how far you want yourself to go. Everything that I say is open for interpretation because what I have ever gone through is not going to be the same of what you have ever gone through. We are two completely different people. We are all completely different people. You and your own parents do not have the same truths because they raised you differently than how their parents raised them. Not only because, like, they're trying to not release the trauma that they had from their parents on you, but because every time a different child comes into this world, it's also in a completely different generation. So it's completely separated from the generation previous, which would be your parents and their parents. So what's going on in the world around us affects each and every individual parenting aspect as the generations go on. And that right there is a prime example of why, like, that is not example, but that's enough of a reason to understand that obviously you guys aren't going to have the same truth because you guys aren't even living in the same timeline. Like, your truths are from this timeline and their truths are from their timeline 10, 20 years ago. And the same thing applies with, like, friends in society. Like, some people have divorced parents and some people don't have divorced parents. And those two lives are completely different. And two people who have parents that are together could have a healthy relationship of parents that are together and an unhealthy relationship that are parents that are together. And the same thing with divorced parents. Do you get what I'm saying? I could go on with the analogies with this forever, but I feel like the ones that I gave were enough for you to get my point. And then there's social media. And social media is like a double-ended sword. You know, it'd be like shing shing. On one side, it connects us and it allows us all to share our thoughts and our lives and our experiences and to educate people and to bring more knowledge into the world. And on the other side, it exposes us to so much negativity. It's a breeding ground for insecurity and comparison and self-doubt. It's never going to go away. It's not like one day they're going to be like, okay, everybody get rid of your phones, no more. No, we've obviously gone too far. But we start measuring our worth based on likes, views, and comments, and we start questioning our decisions because we see someone else's life and we wonder if we're doing it wrong. And before we know it, we're losing pieces of ourselves and we're trying to keep up with an illusion. So let me remind you, about 95% of what you see on social media is not real life. It's angles, it's a art perspective, it's people showing you the way that they view their lives, not how you should be living yours. If you want to gain knowledge from somebody else's video and the way they choose to perceive their life, that's fine. Go ahead, do that and move forward. However, the pictures and the curated content and the highlighted reels are all an illusion. It's a form of art. It's a form of self-expression. And if you get caught up in someone else's form of expression too far, too deeply, it's gonna make you forget who you really are, if you let it. And so how do we fight that? How do we hold on to ourselves in a world that consistently tries to mold us into something else? It starts with a choice, a conscious daily choice to show up as yourself. Because at the end of the day, you're not here to please the world. You're not here to fit into their expectations. You're here to live your truth and explore your own potential and define yourself on your own terms. I feel like people aren't told that enough on a daily basis or even on a basis at all because so many of us are caught up in how we were told to live from a young age. And not fitting into somebody's expectations brings in a lot of insecurity and a lot of fear of not being loved. But I promise you, the right people, the true people that are meant to love you and be in your life and bring you up and uplift you, will fit into your life like that. And they will not be the people who bring you down and tear you down and tell you that you're probably stupid for what you're doing. They're the people that are like, okay, like, you know what? I see all your potential. I only have some questions because I want you to kind of maybe think clearly. And if you don't even want those questions, be like, hey, I appreciate your questions. Write them down. Low key, if I need them later, I will ask you for them. But in this moment, I unfortunately am not even going to listen to you. And I don't want you to feel unheard. It's just that in this moment, like, my brain is so like confuzzled, I cannot listen to anybody else but the voices inside my head. And it just takes giving yourself that moment of brutal honesty to be real with someone else. And I know it's hard, and it's hard to be the one who stands out. Trust me, I get it. I will put myself out there time and time again just for people to kind of react towards me like I'm doing something wrong for saying my own truth and saying things from the perspective that I see them. Not because I wanted to think this way, but because this is what I know. This is how I was educated. This is how I raised myself. And this is what I know. And it's hard to be the person who says, I don't care if it makes you uncomfortable. I will not shrink myself for you. And let me just ask you this. What's harder? Living authentically and dealing with the discomfort of others, or knowing that others are going to be uncomfortable with the decision that you chose because it doesn't fit their description of you, or suppressing who you are and spending your whole life like a stranger to yourself. Like, I refuse to betray myself to make someone else feel comfortable. And that doesn't mean like you're in a room and you purposely go out of your way to make people feel uncomfortable. No. What I'm saying is, when you're having a conversation and you know that your opinion would not be valued, but everyone else is sharing their opinion, so it's either you choose to not talk because your opinion won't be valued, or you choose to talk and be the odd person out. Those are the situations I'm talking about. In those situations where it's more or less of a stance, it's literally you and your truth against fitting into a crowd and their truths. And it's a moment where you have to tell yourself, I refuse to betray myself to make someone else feel comfortable. And just be like, yeah, like, this is just how I feel about the situation. Like, obviously you feel that way, I feel this way. Like, no harm, no foul. Like, we're just different. We've been through different things. And it's just that simple. And either we're never gonna agree again, and for some reason we will argue because we can't communicate the situation, or we can be cool and move forward. I unfortunately am still stuck in a area in my life where I will just straight up tell you to leave. Like, I am protecting my peace so much right now. I'm like, no, sorry. Like, I can't deal with all that mess. Like, I have my own mess going on up here, and if I deal with your mess, I might just make you feel worse. I don't want to do that. I don't want to bring that upon you. So I'm going to remove myself from the situation, and I'm going to do whatever I feel is correct. I'm not going to disrespectfully talk to you or tell you that the way that you're choosing to live is wrong because you're living based off your experiences and what you believe is your most authentic self. But I'm going to live this way. And honestly, like right now, the way I'm feeling, you're not aligning with me at all. And if you take anything away from this episode, let it be this. You're not alone, even in your darkest moments, even when it feels like no one understands you. Your future self is waiting for you to step into your power. Your younger self is rooting for you because everything they dreamed of. And if you've been waiting for permission to be yourself, here it is. Go be you. Even if it means disappointing the people who want to keep you in a box. Even if it means stepping into something that's so unfamiliar and scary, and you have told yourself so many times, I can't do it, I don't want to do it. Go be you. Because you owe yourself to live fully, unapologetically, with no regrets. Alright. That's it for today's first episode of If You Would Have Asked Me. And I hope this resonated with you in some way. And if it did, let's keep the conversation going. Drop a comment, send a message, let's talk about it. Because this isn't a one-sided discussion. I'm not just saying the things that I would say if you would have asked me. my notes kind of ran away from me. But like I said, if this resonated with you in some way, drop a comment. Let's keep the conversation going. Send me a message if you don't want to drop a comment, but let's talk about it. Because, like I said, this isn't a one-sided discussion. This is a space for all of us to show up as our raw and real self, and a place where we're good to one another. So, if this episode made you feel a little uncomfortable, good, because that's where growth starts.